An electrical junction box, often referred to as a J-box, serves as an enclosure for electrical connections. It protects the connections from the environment and provides a safe location to make splices or terminations in electrical wiring. When installing an electrical junction box, there are several important considerations, including location, accessibility, and compliance with electrical codes. Junction boxes should always be placed in accessible locations. This means you shouldn't bury them in walls or ceilings without access. Accessibility is crucial for future maintenance, troubleshooting, or modifications to the wiring. Common accessible locations include attics, basements, crawl spaces, and within stud bays, as long as a cover plate remains accessible. The National Electrical Code, or NEC, provides specific guidelines for electrical installations, including the use and placement of junction boxes. Always consult the latest edition of the NEC and local electrical codes to ensure compliance. A proper installation of junction boxes can create safety hazards and code violations. When locating a junction box within a stud bay, consider the following. Firstly, ensure the stud bay provides adequate space for the junction box and any associated wiring. The size of the junction box should be appropriate for the number and size of conductors it will contain. Secondly, securely mount the junction box to a stud or other structural member. This will prevent the box from moving or becoming dislodged over time. Use appropriate screws or nails for mounting, ensuring they are long enough to penetrate the stud sufficiently. Thirdly, ensure that all wiring entering and exiting the junction box is properly secured with cable clamps or connectors. This will prevent strain on the connections and protect the wires from damage. Use the correct size and type of connector for the cable or conduit being used. Fourthly, all connections within the junction box must be made with approved methods, such as wire connectors or terminals. Ensure that the connections are tight and secure to prevent loose connections, which can cause overheating or electrical faults. Fifthly, when making connections, follow the color code for wiring. Typically, black wires are used for hot conductors, white wires are used for neutral conductors, and green or bare copper wires are used for grounding conductors. Consistent adherence to color coding helps prevent wiring errors and makes troubleshooting easier. Sixthly, once all connections are made and secured, carefully arrange the wires within the junction box to avoid overcrowding. Wires should not be bent sharply or placed under excessive tension. A well-organized junction box makes future maintenance and troubleshooting easier. Seventhly, after completing the wiring, install a cover plate on the junction box. The cover plate should be securely fastened to the box to protect the connections and prevent accidental contact with live wires. Use the appropriate screws for the cover plate and ensure that it is flush with the surrounding surface. Eighthly, label the junction box to indicate its purpose or the circuits it serves. This can be helpful for future maintenance or modifications to the electrical system. Use a permanent marker or label maker to create clear and legible labels. Ninthly, it's important to remember that electrical work can be dangerous and should only be performed by qualified individuals. If you are not comfortable working with electricity, consult a licensed electrician. Improper electrical work can result in electric shock, fire hazards, and other serious risks. In addition to these considerations, there are some general best practices to follow when working with electrical junction boxes. Firstly, always turn off the power to the circuit before working on any electrical wiring. Use a voltage tester to verify that the power is off before touching any wires. Secondly, wear appropriate personal protective equipment, such as safety glasses and insulated gloves. This will help protect you from electrical shock and other hazards. Thirdly, use the correct tools for the job. Using the wrong tools can damage the wiring or create safety hazards. Fourthly, if you are unsure about any aspect of the electrical work, consult a qualified electrician. It is always better to be safe than sorry. Fifthly, keep the work area clean and organized. This will help prevent accidents and make it easier to find the tools and materials you need. Sixthly, inspect all wiring and connections carefully before restoring power to the circuit. This will help ensure that everything is properly connected and safe to operate. The The placement of an electrical junction box within a stud bay 16 inches from a reference point requires careful attention to detail. While the NEC does not explicitly prohibit this placement, it's crucial to adhere to the general principles of accessibility and proper installation. Let's examine the specific scenario. Firstly, the 16-inch dimension, while seemingly arbitrary, could relate to standard stud spacing in residential construction. Studs are typically spaced 16 inches on center, meaning the distance from the center of one stud to the center of the next is 16 inches. Secondly, placing a junction box within a stud bay offers a degree of protection and concealment. However, the accessibility of the box must not be compromised. The NEC mandates that junction boxes must remain accessible without removing any part of the building structure or finish. Thirdly, to ensure accessibility in the scenario, the junction box must have a readily removable cover plate. The cover plate should be flush with the wall surface or slightly recessed, allowing easy access for inspection, maintenance, or future modifications. Fourthly, the wires entering and exiting the junction box must be properly secured using appropriate cable clamps or connectors. These connectors prevent strain on the connections within the box and protect the wires from abrasion or damage. Fifthly, the size of the junction box should be adequate for the number and size of conductors it contains. Overcrowding the box can lead to overheating and potential safety hazards. The NEC provides guidelines for box fill, which specifies the maximum number of conductors allowed in a box of a given size. Sixthly, all connections within the junction box must be made with approved methods, such as wire connectors or terminals. The connections must be tight and secure to prevent loose connections, which can cause arcing, overheating, or electrical faults. Seventhly, when making connections, adhere to the color code for wiring. Black wires are typically used for hot conductors, white wires for neutral conductors, and green or bare copper wires for grounding conductors. Consistent adherence to color coding helps prevent wiring errors and simplifies troubleshooting. Eighthly, it's important to ensure that the junction box is properly grounded. The grounding conductor should be connected to the metal box if metallic and to all grounding wires within the box. Proper grounding provides a path for fault current to flow back to the source, tripping a circuit breaker or fuse and preventing electrical shock. Ninthly, consider the environment in which the junction box is located. If the stud bay is exposed to moisture or dampness, use a weatherproof or damp-rated junction box. This will protect the connections from corrosion and prevent electrical hazards. Tenthly, if the junction box is located near combustible materials such as wood framing, ensure that it is properly rated for the application. Use a metal junction box or a non-combustible enclosure to prevent the spread of fire in the event of an electrical fault. 11thly, remember that electrical work can be dangerous and should only be performed by qualified individuals. If you are not comfortable working with electricity, consult a licensed electrician. Improper electrical work can result in electric shock, fire hazards, and other serious risks. 12thly, before commencing any electrical work, always turn off the power to the circuit at the circuit breaker or fuse box. Use a voltage tester to verify that the power is off before touching any wires. 13thly, wear appropriate personal protective equipment such as safety glasses and insulated gloves. This will help protect you from electrical shock and other hazards. 14thly, use the correct tools for the job. Using the wrong tools can damage the wiring or create safety hazards. 15thly, if you are unsure about any aspect of the electrical work, consult a qualified electrician. It is always better to be safe than sorry. 16thly, keep the work area clean and organized. This will help prevent accidents and make it easier to find the tools and materials you need. 17thly, inspect all wiring and connections carefully before restoring power to the circuit. This will help ensure that everything is properly connected and safe to operate. 18thly, when installing a junction box in a stud bay, ensure it is securely mounted to a stud or other structural member. This prevents movement and ensures long-term stability. 19thly, if the junction box is used to extend an existing circuit, verify that the circuit is not overloaded. Adding too many devices to a circuit can cause it to overheat and trip the circuit breaker. 20thly, if you are running new wiring to the junction box, use the correct size and type of wire for the application. The wire gauge should be appropriate for the amperage of the circuit, and the insulation should be rated for the temperature and environment in which it will be used. 21stly, when routing wires through the stud bay, avoid sharp bends or kinks. These can damage the insulation and reduce the current carrying capacity of the wire. 22ndly, when working with aluminum wiring, use connectors and devices that are specifically designed for aluminum. Aluminum wiring expands and contracts more than copper wiring, and using the wrong connectors can lead to loose connections and overheating. 23rdly, if you are installing a junction box in a bathroom or other wet location, use a ground fault circuit interrupter, or GFCI, protected circuit. A GFCI will detect small amounts of current leakage and trip the circuit breaker, preventing electrical shock. 24thly, when installing a junction box in a location that is subject to physical damage, such as a garage or workshop, protect the box with a conduit or other protective barrier. 25thly, if you are installing a junction box in a location that is accessible to children, use a tamper-resistant receptacle or cover. This will help prevent children from inserting objects into the receptacle and getting shocked. 26thly, when replacing an existing junction box, carefully inspect the wiring for any signs of damage or deterioration. Replace any damaged wiring to ensure the safety and reliability of the electrical system. 27thly, after completing the installation of a junction box, test the circuit to ensure that it is working properly. Use a voltage tester to verify that the voltage is correct and that there are no shorts or ground faults. 28thly, keep a record of all electrical work that you perform, including the location of junction boxes and the circuits they serve. This will be helpful for future maintenance and troubleshooting. 29thly, if you are selling your home, disclose any electrical work that you have performed to the buyer. This will help ensure that they are aware of any potential issues and can take appropriate action. 30thly, regularly inspect your electrical system for any signs of damage or deterioration. This will help prevent electrical hazards and ensure the safety of your home. 31stly, if you have any questions or concerns about your electrical system, consult a qualified electrician. They can provide expert advice and assistance. The information provided is for general guidance only and should not be considered a substitute for professional electrical advice. Always consult a qualified electrician before performing any electrical work. The NEC and local electrical codes are subject to change, so it's essential to stay up to date on the latest requirements. Proper planning, careful execution, and adherence to safety guidelines are essential for a safe and reliable electrical installation. Remember to prioritize safety and consult with qualified professionals when needed. If you find that there are too many wires in the electrical box, then you will need to consider several factors to address the issue safely and effectively. Firstly, assess the box fill capacity, which is the maximum number of wires allowed in the electrical box. This is determined by the size of the box and the gauge of the wires. Overfilling an electrical box can lead to overheating, short circuits, and other hazards. Check the markings on the electrical box to determine its volume in cubic inches. Then, refer to the National Electrical Code, or NEC, Table 314.16 to determine the maximum number of conductors permitted in the box based on its size and the wire gauge. Secondly, you will need to reduce the number of conductors. If the electrical box is overfilled, consider ways to reduce the number of conductors within the box. One option is to route some of the wires to another electrical box or device. Alternatively, you may be able to eliminate unnecessary splices or connections by using continuous lengths of wire. Thirdly, you should utilize a larger electrical box. If it is not feasible to reduce the number of conductors, consider replacing the existing electrical box with a larger one that can accommodate all the wires safely. Choose an electrical box that provides sufficient space for the wires and connections without overcrowding. Fourthly, you need to make proper wire connections. Ensure that all wire connections within the electrical box are made properly using approved methods, such as wire connectors or terminals. Loose or improper connections can lead to overheating, arcing, and other electrical hazards. Tighten all connections securely and inspect them regularly to ensure they remain in good condition. Fifthly, you need to manage the wire organization. Arrange the wires neatly within the electrical box to maximize space and prevent overcrowding. Use wire ties or other organizing tools to keep the wires bundled together and prevent them from becoming tangled or damaged. Proper wire organization can improve airflow and reduce the risk of overheating. Sixthly, consider the circuit load. Ensure that the circuit connected to the electrical box is not overloaded. Overloaded circuits can cause the wires to overheat and potentially lead to a fire. Check the amperage rating of the circuit breaker or fuse and ensure that the total load in the circuit does not exceed this rating. If necessary, redistribute the load to other circuits or install a new circuit to accommodate the additional demand. Seventhly, you should inspect for damage and deterioration. Regularly inspect the electrical box and wiring for any signs of damage or deterioration, such as cracks, corrosion, or frayed insulation. Replace any damaged components immediately to prevent electrical hazards. Eighthly, if you are unfamiliar with electrical work or unsure how to address the issue of too many wires in the electrical box, consult a qualified electrician. Electrical work can be dangerous, and it is essential to take precautions to prevent accidents. A qualified electrician can assess the situation, provide expert advice, and perform any necessary repairs or upgrades safely and effectively. Ninthly, when adding new circuits or devices to an existing electrical system, consider the overall capacity of the system. Ensure that the electrical panel has sufficient capacity to accommodate the additional load without overloading the system. If necessary, upgrade the electrical panel to provide additional capacity. Tenthly, follow the electrical codes and regulations. Adhere to all applicable electrical codes and regulations when working on electrical systems. These codes are designed to ensure the safety of people and property and should be followed carefully. Consult with a qualified electrician or electrical inspector if you have any questions or concerns about electrical codes. If you encounter a situation where an electrical box is overfilled with wires, taking steps to address the issue safely and effectively is very important. Assess the box's full capacity, reduce the number of conductors if possible, consider using a larger electrical box, make proper wire connections, manage wire organization, consider the circuit load, inspect for damage and deterioration, consult a qualified electrician if needed, consider the overall capacity of the system, and follow electrical codes and regulations. By following these guidelines, you can ensure the safety and reliability of your electrical system. And always turn off the power before you begin any electrical work.